coming. And even someone reckless driving, you should be able to stop that person and take them in. Reckless driving, I'm just telling y'all, I'm not buying the reckless driving story that they're telling. I'm not buying it. I think that is just another lie on top of what these cops do. I mean, look, if cops are going to murder a black man in a traffic stop, do you think they're going to really tell the truth about what happened? You're going to take their word that it was reckless. The same cops that did the murder, you're going to take their word that it's reckless driving. I don't care what anybody say. Even reckless driving should not result in anybody's death. You know, there's a reason why they released this on a Friday evening. They didn't do it earlier in the week because they didn't want to have to deal with the fallout. They knew it was going to be a lot of fallout and backlash, and it's going to be a lot of questions about policing in this country. It comes up every time these sort of things happen. Ladies and gentlemen, there are a total of 4 videos that have been released. 4. All right. So it's not just one. So Memphis authorities made the release of the 4 videos on a January 7th traffic stop preceding the death of 29-year-old Tyre Nichols, who spent 3 days in the hospital before succumbing to injuries, which, even his mother said he was already dead when she went in that room and saw him with that breathing tube down his throat. She was like, he was already gone. The first video release shows the officer pull up to a stop in progress that was around 8:24 p.m. Police can be heard ordering Nichols to get out of the car and using profanity. So we know now those 5 officers have been charged and they were arrested and booked into jail. And they did set a bail for him, for all 5 officers. So hours after the department released the videos, Shelby County Sheriff Floyd Bonner Jr. announced that he was relieving 2 deputies of duty and launching an internal investigation. Like I said, y'all, there were a lot more than these 5 cops on the scene. And I think because we've heard about the 5 cops, we don't think there's anybody else. No, there were others, plenty of others that they need to confront and get, and those people need to be charged. I know people got arrested, but they really I'm just so upset right now. Y'all, please forgive me on this one. So, I'm just saying to you, if you only saw one video, you actually did not see all of them. So, you might want to look at the 4 videos. Now, he was on his way home from getting food, and he really was not that far away from where he lived when he was stopped. He was very close to home. They said he was like maybe 100 feet away from where he lived when he took this beating. My goodness. At first, he did appear like he was calm on the ground, you know, and things just escalated so badly. And when you watch the video, you can understand why he ran. He was definitely afraid. He was afraid. And you just don't know how a person you can sit and say, "Well, don't do this and you should do that and you shouldn't do that." When somebody is scared like that, they're not going to think rationally. Yeah, you can have clear thoughts like that, but your butt's not being terrorized. When you're sitting on a video saying all of that stuff, you're not being terrorized. You're not being jumped by 5 cops. So it's easy to sit on a video and tell what somebody should have done when you didn't live through it. So they repeatedly ordered him to get down on the ground, ladies and gentlemen. They did over and over and over. And you can hear Nichols say, "You guys are really doing a lot right now. I'm just trying to go home." And there was no reason for him not to make it home that night. This was definitely an abuse of power, and it's what is heavily done in policing. You know, I don't care what anybody say. If you take somebody into custody and that person die and the circumstances were not justified, like in the case of Tyre Nichols, that should be automatic prison for the police officer. But we know they're never going to do the right thing in America. They're never going to do the right thing. He doesn't appear to respond in order to lay on his stomach. It is shown he's on his side when an officer uses pepper spray. At that point, Nichols appears to struggle out of the police grip and get on his feet and run off. He did that out of fear as they discharge a stun gun. And that was around 8:26 p.m. According to the timestamp on the video, he pulls off his shirt and takes off running. By 8:33, two body cam videos show officers tackling Nichols and a nut, this was at a different intersection at this point after he went off running. So one body cam appears to fall off and the screen shows a fuzzy darkness for several minutes before the officer picks it up and can be heard saying he's on something. Now, this Scorpio unit that these guys were part of said they did that a lot. People are coming forward and saying that a lot, that they've always made these accusations that people are on drugs, and the people were actually not on drugs at all. But that's what this unit used to do. They were notorious for doing that, accusing somebody of being on drugs. So, they're making that. And even if he was on drugs, does that warrant him to die? Hell no, it don't. All right. In this still shot, y'all, you can see they got him propped up against a police car, and it is clear he was badly beaten. And it is clear when I look at the picture, he's not even sitting up on his own. It looked like he's been propped up like that. This is just disgusting. This is sick. This is sick. And they know they're going to get backlash from this, from the public, and it's rightfully so. If there was good policing going on in America, you wouldn't see all the protests that's happening here. The protest is telling you that policing in America is horrendous, and they're not going to do anything to overhaul it. They're not going to do anything to get rid of qualified immunity. They're not going to do nothing. These sick, demonic bastards like policing this way. They like it this way. This is why all through the centuries, nothing has changed about policing when it comes down to the Black community. They were beating and brutalizing people even during chattel slavery and using the police to do it. And they are still doing it to this very day, using the police and trying to psychologically make you believe they're here to help you when they are in the Black community terrorizing. And it doesn't matter if they're Black cops or white cops, they all function the same. And look at the amount of money they pay out every single year on these lawsuits. They don't care. They don't care that these things are happening, especially if it's just happening to one community of people. Oh, hell, they're fine with the whole thing. Policing in America is the worst on the entire planet. And that's the truth. The policing here is the worst in the world. All right, so this is a still shot of them they just fatally beating on him. I mean, it is just ridiculous. So another body cam footage showing him running up as the struggle continues. This is another cop and two men on top of Nichols demanding he give them his hands repeatedly. He can be heard calling out for his mother, but doesn't appear to allow the officers to place him in handcuffs. So, mm, mm, mm. So at that point, they pepper sprayed him again, and he was apparently struck by an officer. And wow. And then the officer backs off and then returns again with a baton. Watch out, I'm going to baton the F out of you, he says as he returns to the scuffle with officers still holding Nichols. For several seconds, he beats and repeats, "Give us your hands." Nichols look limp at this point, or it looks like he's in a daze. And another officer can be seen punching him in the face. So in the body cam footage, it showed the officers punching, kicking, and striking Nichols with a baton multiple times. So they were like in a damn frenzy. At around 8:37, he was finally put in handcuffs. So he was in handcuffs on the ground. Police pulling him over to the side of a car and they leaned him up against it. Yeah, because when you saw that other picture, he looked like he wasn't sitting there on his own accord. It was like the car was literally propping him up. He was not doing that on his own at all. That's my observation. And around 3 minutes later, paramedics appeared to show up and began treating his injuries. At 8:42, two officers among the group in the intersection indicated that Nichols may have tried to grab a gun. You see how they, you know what they're doing? They're trying to come up with an alibi. See, this is what police do in America. They know they what they did to Nichols was wrong. That's why they came up with the reckless driving, and now he tried to grab somebody's gun. Now you see how it's done. See, all this stuff comes up about they tried to grab my taser, they tried to grab my gun because they know what they did to him is wrong. So they're literally standing there trying to come up with an alibi. Well, yeah, we pummeled him and did all that, but he tried to grab a gun. He wasn't trying to grab a gun. He wasn't. If you watch the video, he was never trying to grab a gun. So they're literally standing in the intersection and coming up with an alibi. That's what they're doing. And then another officer says, "We tried to get him to stop." An officer can be heard, "He didn't stop." See, they're coming up with their alibi. He claimed he tried the sirens and repeatedly ordered Nichols to stop to no avail. That still does not it does not justify in him losing his life. Nothing they're saying is justifiable. Nothing. None of the video released Friday includes any action that indicated why cops made the initial stop. That's why when the police chief terminated them, they said they saw nothing on the video on why he should have been stopped in the first place. So, that being said, y'all, then how are they saying it was reckless driving? That's not what the police chief said. The police chief said they saw nothing on the video or no justifiable reason on why he should have been stopped in the first place. Mm, mm, mm. So then another officer said he drove around and swerved like he was going to hit my car. No, he didn't. Even the police chief said that wasn't even on the video. They're faking up an alibi. And if anything, what they need to do, y'all, is pull every single case these cops were involved in, and each one of those cases need to be reinvestigated. That's what it's saying. Every single one of their cases need to be looked at again. All of them. Mm, mm, mm. Wow. This is so sad. I mean, it and you know what, y'all? They'll look at all of this and still Congress and Joe Biden will tell you they don't agree with qualified immunity going away. They can't pass the George Floyd crime bill. They can't do nothing for us. but he has the audacity to want to give a statement on this. Oh, nobody cares about your statement. Nobody cares about your lame ass prayers. Nobody cares about your thoughts and prayers. Y'all can get away with from us from all that mess. Nobody wants to hear that. If you're not willing to take action by pushing through a crime bill and getting qualified immunity taken away and our reparations, because this is more proof of it being a necessity, then you need not come and say nothing at all. It's best for you to keep your old decrepit butt up in your Oval Office and Congress to shut the F up. We have seen this happen a multitude of times, and nobody in Washington will act. So please don't come talking about you praying for this and praying for that. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And this is the fault of your lawmakers. This is 100% their fault. Okay, y'all, I'm going to end it with a picture of him with his mother. You know, I mean, oh boy. Ladies and gentlemen, they're not going to do anything after this. I wish I could come back to you and say, you know, they're finally going to act and things are going to get done. But we have seen this way too many times, and we know way too much about this place and how it functions. And we also know no matter what they see on camera, they're not going to do anything to turn it around. They're not. That's one thing about America. America is not going to do anything for us. They only do for non Black people. And then when we raise concerns about it, then they start talking all that everybody stuff to us. That's what they do. That's the old bag of tricks they have been pulling forever. Whenever we raise our voices and concerns about something, it's an everybody thing. Well, I didn't see everybody down on that ground getting beat up by the cops. I don't see everybody. Let me know when you see everybody, because I sure don't. And the people in your face saying that, they don't see everybody down on that ground either. And they know it. But that's the kind of verbalized garbage they want to get up in your face and say. I'm glad men and women in the community are getting away from their politics. Their politics is rooted in racism. There should be nobody in our community participating in it. It's all rooted in racism. That's why they will sit there and do for all other groups and justify it. But just watch the words they use when we raise our issues. Oh, well, you got to do that for everybody. And what did Kamala say? Oh, well, if you think I'm going to just do things for Black people, no. The woman that said that, Kamala, is the very woman they think is going to bring Black male voters back in. Just think about that. The whole system is rooted in hate and racism. and they want us to be complicit with the whole thing. And the problem is we're not being complicit, and that's what they hate the most. We're not being complicit. We're not being quiet. We are raising our voices on social media, but they want us to be a bunch of docile, complicit, and too scared to open our mouths. That's what they want. And I'll be damned if they're not getting that reaction at all. And they hate it. So the only way they can counteract it is claim that you're just like them. Well, I tell you what, when we see black officers doing white people like this, come see me then. Okay? Come see me and we'll talk. But that conversation is never, ever going to happen because these things don't happen to you at the hands of black officers. It happens to us. And we know that once that badge and gun is in the hands of these folks, it doesn't matter if it's a white cop, a Latino cop, a black cop, we get treated the same, in the same terroristic manner. It doesn't matter what the face of the cop is. Because you know what? Even a black cop knows he can get away with doing more to harm people in the black community than anyone else's community. Even they know that. We're not going to shut up. We're not going to shut up about qualified immunity. We're not going to shut up about the racism in America. We're not going to shut up about how cops are treating us and our communities. And we're not going to shut up about the debt that this country owes us. We're not going to shut up. And we're not going to stop talking against these benign and neglect, do nothing politicians and what they have allowed. These politicians have allowed these police officers to be out on the streets like this. They have allowed it. So, yes, the 5 officers are guilty. The president is guilty. The Senate is guilty. And Congress is guilty. All of them are guilty, y'all. All of them are guilty. Please tell me what you think about this video. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.